Going here, folks. Looks like we're live. Looks like we should be 5 by 5, but y'all might need to let me know. It's a different setup. There's no intro or anything for the live streams right now. We tried this on Patreon a few days ago and it worked out okay. So we will roll with this if it's working okay. Oh man, I'm getting hit by an ad. Join Facebook. Karen's Garden, thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully the audio is better and stuff like that. That was the main reason for switching it up. So I want to say thank y'all for being here this morning. We're going to talk about some serious stuff this morning, but thank you very much for hitting subscribe. Beth D, welcome to the Coffee Club, ma'am. Thank y'all for hitting subscribe, taking 2 seconds and doing that and turning that red button gray and also hitting thumbs up and stuff. Y'all are awesome. First in the house this morning, Yard Dog Prepper. Congratulations. And again, folks that are going to be asking, tune in later. Yes, we are live. We are also we're making history this morning, kind of, because for the last year plus, I think 278 or 279 videos, we've been doing a playlist called Morning Coffee and Contemplation. Those are still going to be available. This is the very first video in the Bunker playlist. So we're making history this morning. And I've had the entire weekend to kind of think about where we're at in this country, think about what's going on. And I have determined, this is opinion, but I think that it's correct. Folks, we are already at war. We're going to talk about that this morning. I think we've been at war since 9/11. I think 9/11 was really when the globalists started executing their agendas full blown. For people, and I know you're out there that are clinging to this idea that, thank you, the shirt, it's an older one. For the people that are clinging to this idea that things are going to get back to normal, we're going to get back to being the United States of America, I would argue this morning, it hasn't been the same America since 9/11. That America is gone. We've been at war since that time. And again, I've thought about this all weekend. We've got prominent leftists openly calling for a civil war. Several of the blue check marks on social media and stuff are saying if you don't vote for Democrats in the midterms, you can expect a civil war. I say bring it on. I've been prepping for one, actually. The economy is being held together right now by fruit stripe chewing gum. It's not really bubble gum. You can't blow bubbles with it, son. But the economy is ragged. It's in shambles. Trout on dry. Thank you very much for being here. Because of the setup, I'm not going to be able to bring comments on the screen, but I do see that, brother. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Every major economist is now saying what we were saying a year ago. The economy's toast. They know it's coming. Yeah, Worminati, I see that. Democrats can kiss it. Web 3.0 is on the way. We know this. The reset is inbound. We know this. Social credit and carbon tax and all this stuff is coming. Just a heads up, I'm not interested in Web 3.0. If and when we get to that time, there's still going to be content coming at preppernation. But when I say bunker, I've actually got couriers set up that'll be uploading my stuff for me because I got no interest in Web 3.0. I hate the internet as a whole. I'm literally on the internet because I enjoy chatting with you folks. That is the only reason at this point. There is a war on real food. Rob E., good morning. If you can't see that there's a war on real food, at this point, you are totally blind. It's on you. There's a war on real food, and there's a transfer of power happening from national power to international power, which we're going to be talking about this morning. What's up, Blues? How are you doing? Black Cat Whirly Gig. So, FJB. All day, every day. As a matter of fact, there's a shirt now. I took somebody's advice. Tie Time, thank you. I took somebody's advice last week, and I did design a shirt. It's available. It's got a cartoon Joe Biden riding the Democratic logo. It says FJB and the horse he rode in on, son. I don't think it says son, but anyway. If you are unwilling to prep at this point, you are already gone. I'm willing to help anybody that is brand new to prepping, but I am not going to hold the viewfinder in front of your face and try and explain to you at this point, too busy, why you should be prepping. If you still need encouragement, if you still need a reason to prep, you're already dead. I hate to tell you, but it's the truth. You should already be prepping at this point. If you are willing to speak up, great. If you are unwilling to speak up, and a lot of people have been kind of pigeonholed into the corner and they're afraid to speak up since 9/11. I've been thinking about this a lot this weekend. If you're unwilling to speak up and be brazen about it, you've already lost your freedom of speech. It no longer exists. Some of us don't care. I see creators on here. Well, I got to dance around. I got to do this. I don't want to expose myself. A lot of us are getting on here and exposing ourselves. People know my name, they know my face. I don't care. I'm the guy that goes to school board meetings and makes myself heard. And this is the kind of world that we need to live in. If there's any sliver of hope of getting our country back, we've got to start telling people what we are pissed off about and stop worrying about hurting people's feelings, okay? If you are unwilling to hold the line, if you were one of the first people to cave to this experimental jab, I'm going to call it what it is, back in the day because you were afraid to lose your job at Winn-Dixie, I don't want you in the trenches with me because I can't trust you. I need people here that are willing to hold the line because there's some real shady stuff going on, which we're going to talk about this morning. A lot of you don't understand this. You creators do understand it, but a lot of you, I get it. You don't have your channel and it is what it is. There's non-stop censorship going on here with Google and other social media. But since we're on YouTube, we're talking Google non-stop. People say John does this for the money. I get flagged 2 or 3 times a week out of 5 videos. What does that mean? Well, it's a 48-hour process. You submit a dispute, they review it manually, they determine whether or not you get paid for the video moving forward. The problem is all the clicks come in the first 48 hours, which means 2 or 3 days a week I'm doing this for nothing. I'm not making a lot of money, and I don't care because I'm not here for the money. I'm here because I enjoy being in chat with these folks. You folks have become friends to me. A lot of you, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know all 53,000 of you, 52,000 of you, but there are hundreds of names that I'm used to seeing in the morning live chat, and you folks matter to me. All right. I'm dealing with and have been for 2 years now. Prepper Tribe knows what's up. He did a video on this. For 2 years, I've been dealing with a lot of drama behind the scenes from creators who just don't like old John at Prepper Nation. John laughs too much. You want to know why I laugh too much? Because I'm saved by the grace of God and because I'm smart enough to be prepping. I know where I'm going when this is over, and I know my family's taken care of. This is why I usually am laughing and comical. John sits at his desk way too much. I've heard this from creators. Then subscribe to the backup channel. There's literally a playlist where I'm out in the woods. This is a hand-me-down desk, but it's a $2,000 desk. I would sleep on this desk if there was room. I would make sweet love to this desk if that was even possible. I don't know how that would be possible. I refuse to stand in line and be a corporate shill like most of the creators here in the prepping community. Matter of fact, if you are affiliated with a company, don't email me. I'm getting sick and tired of the emails. I get these emails, John, we love your content. If you love my content, you would know I'm not here to peddle your crap. Usually this stuff goes right into the into the trash bin. From now on, you're going to get a strongly worded response because I'm sick and tired of fielding these emails. For the creators that have these clicks behind the scenes, and they're out there, for those that don't know, it is very clicky behind the scenes here at YouTube in the prepping community. And I made it known 2 years ago, I have no desire to be a part of any clique. The folks in chat right now, this is my clique. I'm not here to help other people grift and clout chase, and I thought that I'd made this pretty apparent, but obviously not. I have no desire to be at the cool kids table and be some kind of scrotum jockey for clout. I'm not here for it. Wrong guy. Where do you even have to be in your life? Some of these folks are in their twilight years. Where do you have to be in your life to spread rumors about me behind the scenes for 2 years? Where do you have to be in life to set up several troll accounts specifically to come over here and try and troll the chat, to troll the comments? Where do you have to be in life to gossip about other people, myself, and other creators? Some of the other creators have figured it out too. Again, Prepper Tribe cut an awesome video on this. These folks have tried to cancel me because I won't get in line. These folks have tried to cancel Prepper Tribe and several of his boys because they won't get in line. And it does get old, but look, you have my pity, old man, and you have my prayers, as I've said previously, and this sign back here hangs up for you. I want you to know that. I wish you nothing but the best, because in the end, truth always wins. These folks have tried to bully me out of the community. They don't want me here because I'm here speaking the truth, and I'm trying to do it for the right reasons. I don't always get it right, but I try. You're not going to bully me out of the community. You're not going to push me out of the community. I do this because I enjoy doing it. The 7th hour, haters are a sign of success. Thank you for your support for 8 months. I appreciate that. Steph L, you matter to us, John. I appreciate that. But listen, save your super chats, okay? That's something else that I promise you're never going to hear from me over here. Super chat for this, super chat for this. This ain't pay for play over here. I do appreciate the super chat, man, but this is not one of those channels. Those pay for play channels where you must super chat to be seen is one of the very reasons that I started Prepper Nation, because it doesn't matter if somebody has the money or not, they should be heard. And it's a matter of me watching the chat. And again, I do screw that up a lot of time. So anyway, moving on to the war, let me explain to you exactly what's going on. I've known this for years now, a couple of years at least, a year and a half maybe. And some people are going to say this is a conspiracy theory, and that's fine, to each their own. Kelly wrote off, thank you very much. We love you too. But in my opinion, here's what's going on. Moving forward, this is what you should be prepping for, okay? Beth D, thank you very much. The plan, for those that don't know, globalists are flooding North America. This is Canada. This is the United States. This is Mexico. They're flooding them with illegals. They're overwhelming us with illegals. And at some point, they're going to try and transfer power from nations because they're going to say it doesn't make sense anymore. They're going to try and transfer it to international players. They're already hard at work on this. They're going to say the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, these are outdated documents. We need to do away with them. We need something more up to date, something more inclusive. It's all about inclusivity, I guess you would say. It's the same formula as always with these clowns. They create the problem, they introduce the solution, they pretend like they're doing you and I a service, when in fact, they're creating the problem to begin with. And you can go with the COVID on this. You can say they created the problem and introduced the solution. You can say that they have been poisoning us with overprocessed foods and then offering the solution and making us lifetime customers of Big Pharma. That's another story for another day. Muzzle Flash, I come from the land down under. Thank you for that. Same formula. And it's not gonna stop. We're gonna talk about DeSantis and Abbott here shortly, but it's not going to stop. Any FBI in here? No, Carrie. Not that I'm aware of, but there are a couple of creators that are feds. Just throwing it out there. And if he wants to keep spreading rumors and hammering me, I'm going to come with receipts. I don't want to do it, but I will do it. Let me explain to you how we win against what's coming. The war that's coming, how do we win against that? All right, here's another solution. I don't just want to come on here and say the sky's falling, blah, 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 blah. Here's the solution. They are targeting our kids, period. South Plains Prepper, thank you very much. They're targeting our kids. They have been targeting our kids for decades. This really picked up after September 11th, okay? And if there are feds in here, somebody said, yes, there are feds in here, screw the feds. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I ain't afraid of you either, son. How to homeschool your kids. That is the number one priority right now. Down in the video description below, there are 2 links. For the secular folks in here, there's a link that goes and explains how to homeschool your children. T. Lyman 83, thank you very much. For you Christian folks, there's a second link that's going to take you to Liberty Online. It's a K through 12 program. Both are accredited, and both give you the same thing at the end of the day. There's no learning going on in public schools, folks. I've had it out several times with my daughter's teachers. To give you a story, not to get too sidetracked, we go in for open house, and, you know, he's got flags of all these nations hanging up, and there's the old UN hanging up. And I called him out on it in front of everybody. I said, what are you hanging that up for? That's not even a nation, son. And you know, you get the stutter and all this stuff, but it ain't hanging there anymore. You got to stay on these people. All right. If you're already homeschooling or you can't homeschool for whatever reason, take this information, print it off at 10 cents a copy at your local, whatever, 5 and dime store, your local pharmacy. Stand outside in front of the school buildings when they are having, you know, their school board meetings. Pass it out. Explain to people how easy it is to homeschool. Explain all of the options for anybody that has any questions. Schools are not like we remember them. We were just talking, I think, about Porky's or something a couple of weeks ago. I know Porky's, right? But it's not like that anymore. These are straight up indoctrination centers. And this is why I'm always having it out. And my wife works for the school system. I'm sure she don't love it, but it is what it is. There's a lot of covert teaching going on behind closed doors. A lot of things that your children are being asked. Your children, for those that don't know, sometimes they're being asked if their parents have firearms in the house. As a prepper, that should piss you off, because a kid may or may not know any better, right? They could be exposing you as a prepper and you not know it. They're asking probing questions. Expose it. Ask for a copy of the curriculum. It's your right to ask for it. They may make you pay per page to print it, and they try and discourage you from getting your hands on it. Pay $20. Get a printout of everything that your kid is going to learn. And if there's something on there that you think is overboard, go to the school board and have a meeting about it. All right. Will they change it? I don't know. But if you question them and you stay in their face, they're less likely to do it because they know they're going to be held accountable. Right now, these clowns are behind closed doors doing whatever they want, teaching our kids whatever they want to. That's part of the problem. All right. They have targeted the youngest generation. They don't care about us. They're waiting for us to die off. They're going to overwhelm the country with illegals, wait for us to die off, and they're hoping that the youngest generation just accepts it without question. Talk to your kids. You've got to win the minds, the hearts of your kids. You got to make sure that they know why the Constitution is there, that it's a living document. They got to know that the Bill of Rights is non-negotiable. They've got to understand that if we turn it over to an international deal, Zombie Prepper, how you doing, brother? Zombie Prepper, look, Zombie Prepper, thank you very much, because you remind me of Zombie Farmer. Zombie Farmer's been preaching about this for a year. They're coming after our kids, and nobody's doing anything about it. People aren't going to school board meetings, and when they do go, they get the mic unplugged. as soon as they challenge it. So, like I said, walk right outside and start telling people how easy it is to homeschool. Maybe only 2 or 3 of them do it every meeting, but eventually the schools are gonna get tired of, losing money. It's time to stand up, folks. It really is. And I'm so sorry. We are gonna dive into the chat. I know it's been a crazy 20 minutes, but we are going to dive into the chat in just a second. Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, um, Sailing Solo says Zombie Farmer knows. He does. He's been on this topic for a very long time now, about protecting our kids, and he's absolutely right. That's what these people, they're not stupid, okay? They know that, they know it starts with the children, and they're targeting not just in schools, but via social media. Look, you can't send your kids to school in 2022, and the parenting cannot be public schools plus an iPad plus whatever they see on TV, because they're never going to get it. Kids are not being told the truth anymore about what's going on. All right. And it's our job to step in and tell them the truth. You know, I mean, it really is. And it's our job to hound the teachers nonstop. The teachers hate me. They hate me because I'm the most hands on parent there is. But I want to know what my kids are being taught so I know what damage to repair when they get home. Martha's Vineyard, virtue signaling on steroids. So, was this a political stunt? Probably. DeSantis, y'all have seen the news by now. McBean, good morning. How are you doing? DeSantis, sends, I think it was 50 illegals. I'm not going to call them immigrants, illegals who claim later we were lied to. We were told we were going, I think, to Chicago and they sent us here instead. We don't owe them the truth. They broke the freaking law to get into this country and they knew they were doing it. We don't owe them anything. But I digress. The point is, Martha's Vineyard had signs hanging up all over the place. Diversity, immigrants welcome. One day later, that is a direct quote. Can't stay here. Long term, we're going to have to find a place for these people that can't stay here. These people don't want diversity. They're asking us to do stuff they're not willing to do themselves. And that's all it boils down to. The rich folks are up here. Us peons are down here. We're expected to take it. They're expected to live in their little woke bubble. And I'm glad to see it. I hope he continues to do it. Triple T Tony, John, do the schools really lose money? My school taxes didn't change. They receive funding per kid, the enrollment number. So they lose funding. Now, I don't know how many kids before it actually makes a difference, but I mean, worst case scenario, your kid's not going to be indoctrinated and they're going to lose a few dollars. I think it's around $1,600 or $1,800 per kid per year, though. But I don't have that number right in front of me. So getting into the poll here in just a second, but last night, Joe Biden declared the C-19 is over. That's it. That's his quote. The C-19 is over. And I'm going to jump on the poll here for a second. Last night, Joe Biden stated the pandemic is over. Do you agree? 62% of you said yes, it's over. 38% said no, it's not. It's still out there. I think it's something we're going to have to live with. I think the fear that's attached to the C-19 is over. I think it should be long over. Do you hear that lady yesterday at Sheetz that was pumping gas with a mask and a face shield and gloves on? Do you hear that, man? It's over. Some of these people mentally, they have been broken by this. Legit. 20 years from now, they're still going to be masked up, face shields. I think somebody on Twitter called them branch COVIDians. Good morning, Rudy. How are you doing? Always a pleasure. So, I'm not saying let your guard completely down with the C-19 and the pandemic. I think again, the fear that's attached to the pandemic, you should not live in fear at this point. It's something that we're just going to have to deal with as a society. At some point, we said this a few months ago, you have to rip the band-aid off and you have to move on with your life. Otherwise, you're just constantly going to be living in fear. Art Nanny, thank you. Ask for the C-19. My elderly parents, mom has flu. My dad has cancer. My sister and daughters as well. I'm so sorry to hear that. They're being told shortage of antibodies. Have to drive 2 hours to get. My dad's too weak. I am sorry to hear that. And there are going to be people that need to mask up for obvious reasons out in public, okay? Because the C-19 is going to affect them a lot more than it's going to affect somebody that's not, you know, immune compromised at that point. So I get that there's going to be a certain percentage of Americans that are going to have to mask up and stuff, but we can't continue to destroy our economy over the C-19. It's obviously not going away completely. I think they were pushing for a long time for the zero COVID, and that's just that fantasy's over. There's no way we're going to get down to zero COVID. I think it's going to be with us like the flu and stuff like this. This is my opinion. I'm not an expert on this, folks. Um, Second thing here, or the third thing, I'm sorry, Biden said last night that the U.S. will defend Taiwan. And I need to mention this. Y'all can Google it. I should have put it down below. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee, they just passed a $4.5 billion defense bill Tuesday for Taiwan. So in other words, we're funding wars on two fronts. I know I get China and Taiwan, they're not at war, but we're already funding the coming war there because China's not going to let them go on forever. $4.5 billion going over here now. We're still sending billions to Ukraine. They're saying the Ukraine-Russia war could last up to 2030. That's a long time for the United States to be the primary financier of a war. They are Rudy. The Alaska Prepper says the clowns are desperate for war. They are, you know this, for several reasons. They're trying to initiate the reset. But wars are also profitable for certain people. You know, you have companies that make their living on war, building weapons of war, and they get rich. And then you have other companies that go in and nation build after the fact, and they get rich, and they're all connected. Okay, Art Nanny, I understand now. They all have COVID. To my question is, where have all the treatments gone? I really don't know. That's a great question. I didn't realize there was a shortage. There shouldn't be a shortage on that. I mean, what bothers me about that is we've been dealing with COVID so long now that they should have this stuff stockpiled up. I know some states are still against it. And now it's a matter of will they drop mandates or not, but they should have the stuff there. And it's a crying shame that they don't. Um, you know, the antibodies and stuff. I can say that my mother-in-law, and I know everybody's different, but my mother-in-law, a while back, she had the COVID and she felt horrible. Not in great shape to begin with. She got the antibody treatment, and 2 or 3 days later, she was feeling 10 times better. So the stuff does work, and she didn't have a problem getting it on her end. 1900 and Chad, Handy Prepper, thank you. Wow. Let me straighten up here. But the United States, folks, we cannot fund a war in Ukraine until 2030. And we can definitely not fund a war on two fronts. I get that we're supposed to have Taiwan's back. I've seen those comments. We promised to take care of Taiwan. But to the folks that leave those comments, I didn't promise to pay for that. I didn't promise to pay for a war in Ukraine. I would much rather see that money going here into the United States. Our veterans need a lot of help. The homeless need a lot of help. Our food banks are struggling right now. We can put that money to better use. But there's no profit in that. Unfortunately, there's no profit in helping veterans who are out on the streets, right? There's no profit in that. Um, and at the end of the day, it is about the money. And that's one thing that I cannot stand, whether it be politics, whether it be pharmaceuticals and all this stuff. Money. Money corrupts people. I mean, it really does. Um, Michelle makes an excellent point. We could fix our infrastructure with the Ukraine money. We could. You know, you bring up an excellent point. The grid is, I mean, the grid's failing in spots now, and we're not even to winter time yet. Some people are not preparing for grid down. They still don't want to see it. They got their eyes covered. And meanwhile, you have governors that are telling you to turn appliances off, and it's fall, right? It is fall, right? It's not even winter time yet. When snow starts to fall and people are stuck inside and everybody's using heat, everybody's using major appliances, the grid is going to fail. And we could be, improving that with this money, but there's no profit in that. They want to turn everything green. That's where the profit's at, right? That's where the money's at, turning the world green. Um, it's just no good. Oklahoma, how are you doing, brother? I think I missed your comment. Hold on. Oh man. I'm looking forward, Oklahoma. There we go. Like I've said before, mandates are not laws. They're unenforceable by any justice of the peace. You're correct. But some states, as we saw during the pandemic, some states took it to the extreme. I mean, people were being dragged out of businesses, and police were not so nice about it. I'm with you. I think that it is illegal, but they were doing whatever they wanted to do. Um, Michael G, thank you very much. Prepper 911, we can't even afford the US. We can't, let alone other countries. And you would think after years and years and years of endless wars and nation building, we would figure it out. But then when you realize they want us to collapse because they want to install something else, it makes total sense. Joe Biden's doing a knockout job for these folks because that's what they want. Yeah, thank you, Loretta. Sending prayers up for Ark Nanny. Absolutely. And again, I do hate to hear that that's going on, man. Um, C. Feldo, I think. I think I'm saying that right. Because they fear the vets upholding the Constitution, correct. Anybody, it's not just the Constitution, and I can't take full credit for this. Hutch Homestead touched on this past week here on YouTube. The Constitution is a living document. It does change depending on where we're at in a society. What they fear is the Bill of Rights because the Bill of Rights are non-negotiable. And for the people that are always saying, when is it time? If they go after the Bill of Rights, you better pick a rifle up because otherwise you're going to be living in servitude. The Bill of Rights is literally your freedom. Um, yeah, Chief Indian, it's the love of money. It's the root of all evil, as Outlaw Farms just said. Never comply, patriots is correct. That was my line in the sand, the Bill of Rights. And I'm telling you, eventually they're going to come for that. The Bill of Rights. They're going to say it's an outdated set of rules, that racists put it together, and they're going to call for something new, something updated, something more inclusive. And that's after they overwhelm North America. Why North America? Well, the United States is the last beacon. We're the last stronghold. If they can scrub the Bill of Rights away and they can get the United States to the point where some countries in Europe are totally submissive, then it's game over. And that has to be our line in the sand. If they come for the Bill of Rights, we are obligated to stand up for the Bill of Rights at that point as American citizens. I look at it as totally legal at that point. Pure Blood Alpha says that line was crossed long ago. And I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying people stand up at different times and people have lines all through the sand and stuff. Everybody has their own line in the sand, but we cannot allow the Bill of Rights to fall. Thank you, Zemi05. Thank you very much for that. I look forward to being here. Well, that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I can't. It's the first time I've ever considered that actually. Somebody said that is why they stopped teaching cursive in schools so people can't read it, the original document. I don't know. I haven't considered that before. Pilgrim Prepper, yes, they are. Tribe, Backwoods, Tennessee Tactical, Just Josh, and also Hutch Homestead. Awesome channels. Of course, Alaska Prepper, but everybody knows him already. This dude, he should be on Dancing with the Stars at this point, as big as he is. And Casey Little who I saw in here earlier, and Scottish McBean also. There are a lot of great channels here on YouTube. And I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I'm going to go ahead and do it here in a couple of weeks. We're going to have a Saturday night show, and I've got Backwoods Prepping coming over. So that's going to be interesting. He is here on YouTube. He's fantastic. He's a truth speaker. Prepping outside the box. What's cracking, man? Grafted Branch Homestead. Smell the tea in the harbor. I think if they come after the Bill of Rights, it's got to be much worse than that. It's got to be more than dumping tea at that point. Coco at the Island. How will people sign their name without knowing cursive? Digitally. I don't know why they're, getting rid of cursive in schools, but I can confirm that they are doing that through my own kids. We're headed for a digital age, paper and all that stuff. It's on the way out. They want to be able to pre-screen everything, and you can't do that with a piece of paper, right? Thumbprints. That's kind of scary, actually. Main Man 19 says thumbprints instead of the signature. Diggity Danny, what's going on? The Bitter Critter. Good morning. Optical palm. Fingerprints, optical palm. Yeah, that's all. I ain't interested in any of that. No, it ain't double tie time. Y'all killing me here, son. My bank loan paperwork, etc., all digital. Sign started. Yeah. I mean, I'm not delusional. I know that everything's going all digital. I know we're headed for that, but that, it still don't make me interested in it. I'm going to be one of these geezers where I just ain't got time for it. I'm not interested in it. Bama Jen. However, a lot of the kids don't speak English. My daughter's a 5th grade teacher and there's no time. Yeah, a lot of okay, thank you, Cogito. We bumped it for a second. Not only do we have a teacher shortage, but we have a substantial shortage on translators and teachers who are bilingual and stuff like this. They're just totally overwhelmed, which is what I find funny about Martha's Vineyard. They're like 50 people overwhelm them, and it's a vacation resort and all this stuff. They just didn't want these people hanging around. You know what I mean? Let me try not to knock something off here. Oh, and I did it anyway. Oh, well. I think South Plains Prepper says, I think we will balkanize first before we become servants to the number one. The 1%, the states will split up. Well, we're going to find out. Because as I said, Thank y'all for being here this morning and letting me know. I'm over here running my mouth. As I said, I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in the one world government. I'm not interested in watching my country transfer my rights to the UN, and they will be dealt with accordingly. I don't care what piece of paper they show up with at my front door. Oh, the stock market's in trouble though, isn't it? Just a biker, the stock market. Wow. Cogito, I wish we would redraw maps, states with politically that are similar politically instead of Philly deciding this. Yeah, it's the same way with every state. You have one or two, maybe three concentrated areas, big cities decide the entire state. But once you get into changing the rules like that, it can actually come back to haunt you because they can change it in bad ways as well. Ink scars. I wish I could throw that up on the screen. Middle finger the UN. VR Lab Girl, thank you very much. Are you going to be able to make it when we're meeting up in a few weeks in Dublin, Virginia? Are you going to be able to make it, man? She's a wildflower. Thank you for the support for 24 months. Wow. What schools don't teach our children, we must teach them ourselves. We have to teach, you're right. We have to teach them. So, for example, my daughter, her teachers this year aren't even teaching history at all. They said there's no time for history. They have seminars on being inclusive, and of course they're doing the sex ed thing and all this stuff, but they're not teaching history. So that falls on me, and I don't have a problem doing it. But you also have to go in and unteach and repair a lot of the damage because they're hearing one side of the story on anything, and they're gonna whoever is writing the textbook material, that's the truth that they're getting in schools, and that's not always the case. Jess, you're going to be there at Claytor Lake? That's fantastic. David Hacker, I appreciate you watching. That's exactly what it is. Phillips is just like a book burning. Yeah, it's just anytime I tell my kids this all the time, but it's good advice. If people are telling you not to read something or they're trying to, for example, okay, I get that all mainstream media is propaganda, but I'll give you a perfect example. Try and find RT News right now here in the United States. You can find all kinds of information on what's going on in Ukraine from the usual suspects like MSNBC, Fox, CNN. Try and find the other side of the story. You have to do a deep dive because they've shadow banned a lot of it because they don't want you to see the other side. If people are trying to hide the other side of any argument or they're trying to ban any book, go out of your way to find it. Go out of your way to read the book because there's a reason they're doing it. Um, Ink scars, we are, man. Prepper Nation is the island of misfit toys. We are. We're a bunch of misfits up in here. I would have it no other way. Daisy Girl, that's I would consider that a prep, actually. I mean, it ain't in my top 100, but Daisy Girl says I've been buying used old history textbooks for my future grandchildren. I would consider that a prep, not just history books, but almanacs and things like this, because they're brushing over so much stuff. I mean, they're wokeifying everything. Crazy Ivan. John, I moved to Central Illinois from Chicago in 1995. The kids down here don't even know that Chicago is in Illinois. Good Lord. Old maps, Heather. That is definitely a prep as well. Old maps. A lot of people can't even read maps now. Pappy Prepper says, "We don't buy any digital books, all print." I love print books. And then on top of that, I would say get as close to the source date as possible. So if you're getting a book on the Great Depression or maybe what led to the Great Depression, get it around the time of the Great Depression or shortly thereafter. Don't buy a book that was written in 2022 telling you what happened because it's been wokeified, I promise you. And not just the Great Depression, any war, any kind of conflict, go as close to the source as you can. Thank you, B. Lim. Thank you very much. Mickey says, John, you need to start live streams on Rumble. No more leftist YouTube. We tried. We had, we had a Rumble and it was booming for a while. And then we had a creator um, try to burn the place down. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, locked us out of everything, went over to Grim Survival, and we tried to restart. It's unreal what goes on behind the scenes. And so we tried to restart a Rumble and nobody found it. Um, Warlord, what's going on? I can't wait to see you in a few weeks so we can talk important stuff in person without people listening. You know what I mean? Greg Thompson, thank you. I'm not the one. Sven says, John, give a class on cleaning and canning squirrel meat, brother. I'm not the one to do that. Not only am I not a master canner, I don't eat squirrel. I would eat squirrel as a last resort, but I'm not like typically out here eating them. Two-wheeled prepper. By the way, congrats. I think I read earlier that you just got married. The thumbnail art where I'm smoking the cigar out here, trust me, 30 seconds later, I was outside with that because my wife would kill me if she knew, but that was like 2 in the morning. She was asleep. Says, any books on trapping you can recommend, John? I met an old man last week who's been trapping since the early 60s, and he sold me a coyote trap. So what I would do is find books after the Civil War, shortly after the Civil War. And they're going to be hard to find, but if you can find them, reason being a lot of the soldiers after the American Civil War, they didn't know what to do, like to reintegrate. And a lot of them became bushcrafters or trappers by trade. And there are some books floating around if you can find them. Because I mean they created it basically. They took trapping and they were making their living doing it. So they really knew what they were doing. The dude, that's a good question. I'm not going to be going anywhere. Originally, the plan was bug out, but now it's going to be bunkering in. As I order things for the house to fortify the house even further, I'll show you that stuff on camera and stuff like that. We're going to be upgrading all the doors. We're going to be upgrading. We're switching from the night locks, which are decent, but we're going with the on guard, which is much, much better. Securing the windows a lot better and stuff like this. Going camping this last time was a real eye opener. I realized how few people I know that are actually mentally ready for what's coming. And I'm not walking into that. I'm not going to walk into a bug out situation where I have to hold everybody's hand and constantly pep rally with them and stuff. It's just not worth it. I'd rather stay here where all this stuff is at and fortify this place. Never comply, Patriot. Yeah, you get it. One camping trip with the family changes your bug out plans in a hurry. It wasn't just it wasn't just my family kind of, the immediate family, we know what's coming. Even the kids know what's coming. It was the extended family. And it was the fact that I don't know. I mean, I don't want to put them on blast or nothing, but they eat like horses. Nobody really wants to do anything around camp. It was just constant complaining. It's too cold at night. It's too hot during the day. The bugs are really bad in this area. The bugs are eating me alive. The bed's uncomfortable. It's just not worth it. Not at all. Quinn says coddling is for kids. There you go. Ain't nobody got time for that. Wilson, I be math, who I think about every time I'm doing a basic math problem now. Aaron Goodman, good morning. How are you doing? Joni Friels, gonna finish modifying the greenhouse and relax in the Beaverine Bug Out Lounge with a cold one later. A cold what, Joni? Have a blessed day. You do the same. Pinelander. I didn't even go anywhere the dogs didn't want to stay outside. That's another thing that factors into it. We have 2 dogs. They're great dogs. They are big dogs, so, that helps with security. One of them is a yapper, and I don't wanna leave the dogs behind, but I don't see a situation where the entire concept of bugging out is to get out of the way, get somewhere where you're not gonna be found, and ride out whatever event's taking place. With Bruno yapping, it's all over. I mean, they would be able to hear us 3 states over the way he yaps. Brides of the Harvest, medicinal garden is underway, addicted to dirt. Check out Casey Little Owl here on YouTube. She's all about the medicinal stuff, and it's fantastic. Bruno is my dad's name. Wow, Kelly. Uh, we have Anna, we have Bruno, and then the kids have a cat that they name Motley after Motley Crue. Yeah, my daughter's into the 80s rock. And we're kind of a motley crew over here now that I think about it. Peanut butter stops a yapping dog. I've heard that, Romans, but I don't want to dip into the I don't want to dip into the preps. We have plenty of peanut butter, but is it just something you do once or twice, or do you have to do it constantly? Because then he becomes a liability on the preps. Oklahoma says best band ever. I don't know about that. They're good though. I don't know about best. Brant's Covidians. Yeah, I've heard that. Devin, I didn't coin it. I saw it, I think, over on Twitter. Um, Paradise Acres, raising them right, son. She found 80s rock on her own. And she stacks the records and stuff. That's her thing. You can put Casey Little Owl's channel name up so we can find it. I can pin it as a comment after. Well, hold on here. If y'all give me a second, I can do that for you. I'm sorry. Multitasking. All right, there we go. My little hen pecking self. All right, I'm going to throw her link. There you go. And again, she focuses on medicinal things, and it's just a really cool channel. Really cool lady. They learn they will get peanut butter if they bark. Guttermouth granny. So that's a good thing or a bad thing? I honestly don't know. They don't like it or what? The Urban Homebody. Hello from England. Wow. Welcome. Big T, we've considered shot collars. I'm kind of on the fence about that. We've considered it. I think it would take care of the problem, but I don't know if it's too humane or not. You know what I mean? But this dog, if I walk through the living room, he barks at me. I mean, this dog just barks at everything. He sees a fly going through the room and he barks for 20 minutes. He's not bug out ready. Um, y'all got me thinking about 80s music now. Everybody in the chat's like 80s music was the best. The rock was. I don't know about the pop. I don't get into pop anyway. It's not my thing. Bobo World, teach them to growl, not bark. I don't know how I would do that. I don't know. That would be an interesting video. Me getting down trying to teach him how to growl. My other one does growl, but she's too lazy to do anything else. Sticks to their tongues. That way they don't bark. Oh, there had to be somebody throwing Rush in here. Laura Williams says Rush. Oh, yeah, they're Sally, I know it's funny. She says LOL, not bug out ready, but they're not. You know, if the idea is to stay hidden, you don't want a yapping dog with you the entire time. Um, you know, if somebody rolls up on your camp, yeah, that you want the dog barking and stuff, but not just randomly barking at anything in the trees, any squirrels, day and night. Well, Warlord TV says I put shock collars on myself for the amusement. That I want to see that video, Rob. Video that next time. I will tune in for that. I'll blank the calendar for that one. And sadly, you're probably not the only one in the chat. I'm sitting here looking at names like, you know, would Black Cat do that? Would Charlie do that? Just get a cat. We do have a cat. Yeah, we got a cat that stays outside mostly. Get a watch cat. Okay, the dude making an excellent point here. I hadn't considered that. A yapping dog is great. Is great bait for whoever you want to rob. Why ain't you know, I'm just trying to stay hidden. I ain't trying to rob anybody. But yeah, now that you mention it, we could put the yapping dog, you know, 300-400 yards away from camp as a early warning system or something. Yeah, we could do that. Now, how do you now that we've got the dog situation figured out, how do you get into people whining about beds being uncomfortable, bunk beds and things, or you know, bed rolls and all this? It's all uncomfortable. They want to glamp while they're bugging out. Stomach over here rolling like limp biscuits, son. I'm gonna be eating something here shortly. I don't know what. Well, Trout, uh, yeah, this is extended family and people, random people they invited. So I didn't really go that far. He says, tell them to shut up. I just, when it became apparent that they were whining nonstop, I just sat back and smoked Churchills and looked at them, drank coffee. Leave them at home, Nana City Farm. Some of them I'd never met before. They just got invited by extended family, and you know, the extended family's like, "Hey, such and such is coming over." I'm like, "Really?" And then I'm taking that person's name off the list, not helping you in SHTF. No heads up, no nothing. It wasn't like at our what I would consider to be our bug out location, but still, who would they uh, for those that are planning to bug out, is that something you've considered? People that you have said, "Hey, you can come here," them inviting other people last minute and not telling you ahead of time? Dynamite, let them sleep on the ground. Well, I mean, you know, they had I consider it cushy, you know, sleeping bags and stuff. Complaining about that. Wilson IB says, "I would be pissed." Yeah. Quit being weak. Chief Prepper says, "Just tell him to quit being weak." Sharon, I'm gonna close with that comment because I've been running my mouth long enough this morning. We're living in the last days and we are battling against evil forces. Pray. These people are definitely evil. They've got an agenda. We're at war with them, whether we want to admit it or not. And I am going to pray. I do pray and I'm going to continue to do it, but I'm also going to fight. I'm not just going to sit back and take it. So please, folks, pray, but prep in a way that you're going to be able to stand up when that time comes. You know, right now, I would say prep because they're going to punish us first. That's what's going on right now. Financially, you're going to be punished. Food supply chain, you're going to be punished. We're going to be punished, punished, punished. And at some point, they're going to introduce the idea of scrubbing the Bill of Rights away. And that's when the rifles, again, those come out and it's go time at that point. And you got to be here to bring the rifles out. So anyway, y'all, thank you for being here this morning. Huge crowd. I appreciate it. All the subscribes and the thumbs up and stuff. Until tomorrow morning, y'all take care and God bless.